So today what I want to do is talk about logical expression and Boolean variables. So let me just get started with an example. So we can ask questions or mathematical questions in Python where we're going to get either a true or false answer, or yes or no answer is another way to think about it. And so maybe we can ask, is 4 bigger than 2? If I run this, I see that the answer is true. If I flip around the sign, or if I ask if 4 is less than true, I'm going to get back the answer false. So these are Boolean. So our return argument from this expression is a Boolean variable that can take one or two values, true, or it can take false. Just a couple other expressions. So we have greater than equal to. So if we ask 2 is bigger than 2, obviously this is going to be false. But if I do greater than equal to it, then it's going to be true. I can also do less than or equal to 2, and that's a true statement. One other thing we can do is check for equality. And equality here is checked with 2 equal signs. So a single equal sign is an assignment. So we're assigning to whatever to the right of the equal sign to the left variable. But 2 equal signs is testing for equality. So we could ask, is 2 equal to 2? That's true. But if I ask if 2 is equal to 3, then that answer is false. I can also do not equal, which is percentage equal, or I mean apostrophe equal, and 2 is not equal to 3, so that'll be true. But if I ask, is 3 equal to 3, that's false. One thing with equality signs, it can get a little tricky with floating point numbers, and I'll show you later about how to test equality with floating point numbers, because given how many, at some point the floating point number is going to be truncated, right? And so based on how it's truncated, you can get answers that are not always equal to one another, even though you think they're equal to one another. Now, we can also assign the value of a Boolean expression, say 4 bigger than 2, to a variable. We can print that variable, x. In this case, it's going to be x. And let's also print the type of the variable. So we can have type of x. And so in here, we're setting x is equal to 4 greater than 2. Well, 4 greater than 2 is true, so that means true is going to be assigned to x. When we print the value of x, we're going to get the true. When we look at the type, again, this is a bool or a boolean. It's kind of the shorthand notation for a Boolean variable. One extra thing I'll mention is that if you do math on Boolean variables, basically they'll get converted to integers, and true will have the value 1, and false will have the value 0. So if I print, say, 4 plus x, in this case, since it's true, I'm going to get 5. And if I flip this around, where it is now a false statement, we're going to get 0 because x is going to have the value 0. Now we can do some extra things. We can combine statements. So we could say maybe x is equal to 10, and we can ask, is x bigger than 5? And we can ask, is x, say, less than 20? So here we're doing 2 conditions. If I run this statement, it's going to come back true. In general, with an and statement, we want both of these questions to be true, right? So if x bigger than 5, x less than 20, so both have to be true. But if I did, say, 9 here, right, the first one's true, but the second one isn't, this is going to be false. So we can just come down here. You can check out logical expressions. So we can say true and true. And the return argument is going to be true because both of them are true. But if one of these is false, right, we're going to get false there. Obviously, if they're both false, they're going to be false. And then if we had true over here, we have true. We have false because both of them have to be true. The other thing we can do is an or statement. We can come over here and type in or. And or just one of these 2 kind of expressions need to be true. So the first one's true, but the second one is false. In each case, we're going to be true. And we can see this down here, checking the logic. So if we have true or false, that's going to be true. We have true and true. That's going to be true. And it's only when both of the statements are false that we get back the false command. So you can actually string together lots of these statements. In general, with this kind of expression, if we come back up here, it's probably better to put parentheses around it. just to make it a little bit clearer, especially if you're stringing multiple ors and ands, because again, this is going to be true, and then this one's going to be false, and so that's just basically equivalent to the expression. When it parses this, it's going to replace this expression with true, and it's going to replace this one with false, and then we're going to get our true statement with kind of the expression of an OR operator. One other operator I'll mention is we can also do not. So if x is equal to true, and we say not x, that's going to return false. And then if x is equal to false, then not x is equal to true. Now you can construct very complicated logical expressions. I'm not going to do this in this video, but we'll see them more through experience. In general, what I find is that typically I just do a single and or. That's been my experience. It's rare that I'll have like, I can also do this expression and I can ask, is x bigger than say -5? If I come up here, I run this, it's going to be true. And I think this is evaluated left to right. I'll actually have to check that. I'll post a note on it. But you can also make it a little bit more explicit for the order of operations, where first it'll evaluate this expression, which is true, and then I'll do the and operator on this. But we can also play around things. We could also put a not over here, in which case this statement is going to be false. I find these expressions really complicated to read, and it's better to break them up, and I'll show you in the next video when we do if statements, how to kind of break up kind of complex logic. So I'm going to stop there. If you have questions, please post them to Piazza or in the comments, and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. All right, thank you.